Hey guys, welcome to Inspiring Beauty and Believers. I am Song, and today I'm just going to be talking to you about my amazing grandmother. Um, if you saw my video yesterday, I don't want to confuse things. So the video that I did yesterday about when things don't work out the way that you plan, and believe in God anyway. I just want to make sure that this is clear from the beginning. That video actually had nothing to do with my grandmother, um, or for her talking about her not passing. Um, at that time when I did that video, I didn't even know that she was going to the hospital or anything. Didn't know that last night was going to be her last night here on this earth. So just wanted to clarify that that video was not actually about her. Um, but I did want to make a video today just because it's a lot of emotion and grief and grieving. And I don't think, uh, I don't think people really talk about it. I can only speak from the African American side, but I think it's not talked about a lot in the African American community, grief and how to process it and, what to do with it. And so I want to share my story, my heart on this matter. Because if you know me personally, if you know my family, uh, my grandmother was the matriarch. She was extremely important to all of us. She, gave life to everything. She was the life of the party. She was the joy of the party. Everybody just loved her. And I've gotten so many messages, calls, and stuff from people who weren't biologically related to our family, but they just, are deeply grieved right now because they loved her so much, and this was just unexpected in a way. Um, or I should say, it was unexpected for most. I knew in my heart that the time was coming, and it was getting very, very close from different talks that I had with her since she moved 3 hours away. So since she had gotten closer, I tried to make it a point to get out there as much as possible and spend more and more time with her. And uh, in our conversations, uh, I saw the the life leaving her eyes. I don't know if that makes sense, but the spark of life, you know the joy that she had. She still had joyful moments, spending time with family and stuff that would light her up. If you've seen any of my videos, the video I did for her birthday, the video I did when she had all of her kids together, that was on her last birthday in August. And that was she said, one of her best times, being able to be with all of her children again. And because family meant everything to her. And even if you weren't biologically related to us, if you met Shirley Stanford, you became part of the family. That's just who she was. Uh, it could partly be due to the fact that she was the only child, so she always wanted to have, a sibling, and so she just kind of she nurtured everybody, but her heart was just so big. She just loved everybody that she came in contact with. And I say that she um, she was my best friend. So, and I maybe not everybody can fully understand that, being best friends with your grandmother, but when you have such a close relationship with somebody, um, like you can share anything with them. We would have deep conversations about everything. There was never anything that was not shared between us. I could talk to her about anything. We'd laugh and joke together. Actually, um, before she had passed, the last time I saw her, I spent Christmas with her, and we were we were setting her up on dating sites and stuff. She was like, "Well, I need to find somebody because it's lonely. I want a companion. I want somebody to hang out with." So we are setting her up to find somebody. We was talking to different elderly guys on there and just laughing about it. But it was just like that, having that close relationship, that friendship with someone so dear and someone so full of wisdom that so many things that she's poured into me, and that's what I continue to encourage people uh, that have been calling me and texting me today, that if you ever had an opportunity to talk with her or be in her presence and just experience her love, um, then you'll carry her with you forever if you apply the things that she taught. If you learn to love the way that she loved, you know, she would never throw you away, no matter who the person is. She didn't throw people away, which is why there's so many people who feel like they lost a mother or grandmother today, um, or yesterday. So I wanted to share those things. Um, and I was saying, well, in my title, I said, um, turning your or finding peace in the midst of grief. And the things I want to share about that are when you really learn to accept other people's will and not force your will on them. That was a big thing that her and I had a lot of conversations about. When I got the call yesterday that she was in the hospital and that she was probably not going to make it out, immediately the thing that came to my mind was when her mother was dying, and she told me, she said she just kept praying that God wouldn't take her mother, that she didn't want her mother to leave because, again, she was the only child, and she just didn't know how she was going to live without her mom. Her mom was her best friend. And she said she one day she woke up to her mom screaming. Her mom had cancer, and her mom was screaming, "God, just why won't you let me leave here? I just don't want to be here anymore. I can't take this pain." And she went in there and she cried and she told her, "I keep praying that you don't leave me because I don't want you to leave me." Um, but she realized in that moment that she was being selfish, trying to hold her mother there because she didn't want to let her go. And she said, um, she said she stopped praying that prayer, and shortly after, her mom left this earth. And so when I got the call yesterday, that thought crossed my mind. Like, I've watched her over this last year really just be in a lot of pain. And now we know exactly why she was in pain. But at that time, everything was misleading. The doctors they weren't given right information of where the source of the pain was, that her kidneys were failing, that her body was full of acid, and that's what was causing the issue. So they were trying to treat a symptom and they didn't even know what was wrong until yesterday. Um, so remembering the story that she told me about her mother, when I got the call that she probably wasn't going to leave the hospital, not probably, she wasn't going to leave the hospital. They didn't think she was going to make it. She was already on life support. Um, I said, I won't be selfish and try to hold her here. And I appreciate all the prayers that everybody, you know, prayed for us and were praying for her deliverance and her healing and her not to die. Uh, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that. And as my pastor, when I talked to him yesterday, before she passed, he said they're actually, I'm going to read it word for word because I feel like this will help somebody. He said, fight for her with faith in Jesus' name. Worst case scenario, she's promoted to heaven. Best case, she has a powerful testimony. In either case, God gets all the glory. And I thought about when Paul said in the Bible to to live as Christ and to die as gain. So weighing the options, if she stayed here and she healed from all that stuff, that's a great testimony. It would have been a great testimony. But if she transcended over to heaven, over to glory, then she wouldn't have to be in pain anymore. And she could finally truly have peace. And that was a big thing for me because not just the physical pain that her body was in, she was really, really sad. And not everybody knew that because everybody was used to seeing her always happy and always the life of the party. But my brother and I were having a conversation about this yesterday, maybe. But when people get older, they, we talk about we want to live a long life and enjoy life. And yes, we do want to do that. But the fact of the matter is, as you get older, the people that are your friends now, your spouses, people are going to die. And you're going to start to realize that you're more alone because all the people that you love are slowly leaving you and you might be the only one left. And that was a lot of the things that she said. She talked about um, we would look at old pictures and stuff and she'd be like, this person is dead, this person is dead, I'm all by myself, and we're like, grandma, you're not by yourself because we're all here and we love you, but it's not the same thing, not for somebody who is growing older in age. And she had been with my grandfather for 53 years before he passed. And she knew she was never going to really love anybody the way that she loved him. So, she missed him. She wanted to be back with him. And we can all speculate like, well, why did she have to die? Why did this have to happen? But when God gives us all free will, and this is the thing that gives me peace, is God gives us free will. He's never going to go against what our will is. And her will was she was ready to go. And she kept saying it for months, maybe for like a year or something. I couldn't tell you exactly how long she's been saying it. But more and more, the closer it came to yesterday, it seemed like every conversation we had, she was talking about dying and how she was just tired and she didn't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't just physically tired and physically in pain, it was emotionally exhausting and draining. And she would say, I lived 77 years, I've lived a good life, I married the love of my life, we were married for 53 years, I've had children and grandchildren and great grandchildren and great great grandchildren, and you know I've had all these people in my life. And she's like, I lived a good life and I don't know what else is left for me to stay here and do. She was like, but I'm tired. And when you hear that in somebody, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Are you going to say, God, make them stop being tired so they don't leave? Like, if you really sit back and think about it, it sounds selfish. And I thought back to when my grandfather passed um, in 2014. And when they called me and said he was in the hospital, this is the way that I thought about it. My whole life, I was 29 at that time. My entire life, my grandfather had been in and out the hospital, in and out the hospital. So when they called me, I think maybe at that I became numb to him being in the hospital. Then he gets out and he's fine, and grandpa's always there because he's like, uh, we just called him a stubborn old man. We was like, nothing can kill him. He won't die. He had cancer. He had stroke. He had diabetes. He had this. He had that, and he just keeps bouncing back. And so when they said he's in the hospital, and I was like, okay. I was like, I'll call him when he goes home, and I didn't think anything of it. Um, and then I got the call, and they said he's gone, and I was like, no, he's not, because he can't leave, because he always gets out the hospital, he always gets better, and but he was tired, and he had told my grandmother that he was like, I'm not doing another surgery. He knew when he left that hospital, because he ended up leaving the hospital and going home, and that's where he ended up dying. But um he was like, he knew he wasn't gonna make it, but he didn't want to keep fighting anymore. And sometimes we hold so much to the love that we have for somebody and how it's going to affect us if they die, that we'd rather be selfish in that moment and say, I need you to stay here for me so I don't hurt, instead of you being released from the pain that you feel. And to say that out of our mouth sounds really bad, because we don't want to say that, because we don't want to say like I'm okay with this person being in pain. But that's really what it comes down to. We don't consider what is it that they're going through, and are they tired of dealing with it. And I fought everybody in my family when my grandfather passed, and people kept calling me, and they was like, you need to make arrangements to come to the funeral, you need to get your stuff. And I was like, I'm not coming to a funeral. There's not going to be a funeral. He's not dead. He's getting back up. You ask my mom. I was like, lay hands on him, he's going to get out of there. I'm not coming. And for like 4 days after he was dead, I was like, nope, I'm not receiving it. And that's just the process of grief that we go through. I was like, I will not receive that he's gone, because he always comes back. And it's not fair that he didn't come back this time, because I didn't call him and tell him goodbye. And so I felt like I missed an opportunity to have one more moment with him. And I needed to get that back. And that was selfish of me, because when I really sat down and thought about it, like I said, my grandfather had been sick my entire life, as long as I had known. So 3 decades, 30 years almost, of battling some kind of sickness. But I wanted him to stay because I didn't get to say goodbye. So when I processed through that and really thought about how selfish that sounded, then I was able to release him and accept that he made a decision. It was his desire to stop fighting in that moment. It was his desire to just let go and say, I've lived my life and I'm tired and I'm done. And we have to give people the right to do that, because none of us have to live in their body. None of us have to go through the pain, the heartache that they go through. There were many times, when I went to go visit my grandmother, that she would, even I think Christmas Day, I went in her room on Christmas morning, and I was just talking to her, and she said that she woke up in the middle of the night and she just cried for hours, and she was just so sad. And I was like, I could see that she didn't want to feel the heartache and the pain anymore of feeling like, what is there left to live for? And if I were in that situation, I wouldn't want people to make me stay in that situation. And that is why I'm able to now, when I got the call, I cried, because of course you're going to cry when you love somebody and they're gone. And there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with going through the process of experiencing this grief. But you have to be able to say, I love you so much that I'm willing to let you go so that you can have peace. And that was the biggest thing. I wanted her to have peace. I wanted her to not be in pain anymore. And if she couldn't find it on this side of earth, I knew that she could find it in heaven. She'd definitely have her joy again. She'll have her dance again. She loved dancing. She was always dancing. She was always laughing and smiling, always bringing joy to people. And I wanted her to be able to have that joy again. So that's one thing that I wanted to share. We have to learn to stop being selfish and learn to let people go in order for us to have peace. Because if God gives people free will to decide whether or not they want to stay here or whatever it is, He gives us free will to do whatever we want with our lives. He's not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. Then, if He can't make us stay in this earth, how can other people make us stay in this earth? We're not God. So, it's essential that we learn to let people go and let them, if they're ready to go, let them go, and remember the memories that you had with them. One of the things that my grandma always said was, don't give me my flowers while I'm still alive so I can smell them. And she said she don't want no flowers when she dead. She paid for her whole funeral way before she passed, because she wanted to make sure nobody in our family had to have the concern or burden of uh, taking care of that. But she said, I ain't paying for no flowers because I can't smell them anyway. So she didn't want no flowers. So that means to honor those while they're living with you. Spend time with the people. Make those memories, because in order to have peace, you need to be able to go back and say, I did everything that I could to make sure everything was right as far as I could on my side. And I have peace because I know when she breathed her last breath, I may not have been physically there, but as much as I could have been there with her, I was there. I was there to make sure that she had a relationship with her grandchildren, her great grandchildren. I was there to spend time with her. Whatever she wanted to do, I was there. We played games together, we cooked together. So I have all of these beautiful memories of her. And I don't have any regrets that I wish I could have done this or I wish I could have done that, because my life is so full of beautiful memories of her, because I didn't wait to give her flowers when she was dead. I did it while she was alive. I hope that makes sense. I honored her while she was alive. I made those memories while she was alive. And when you do that, you don't carry that burden of regret with you. That's a lot of time. I think about her favorite movie was Imitation of Life. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but if you haven't, um, I only watched it because it was her favorite movie. But it was actually a good movie. But there's a scene in there where the daughter is chasing after the casket um, of her mother after her mother's dead, and she had treated her mother badly. You gotta go back and watch the movie. But anyways, in her mother's death, she had all these regrets because her mom was gone, and she knew that she didn't treat her right. and she didn't do the things that she should have done to honor her. And y'all remember? I don't remember where I was going with that. But what I was saying was, um, oh, okay, I remember. A lot of times, what people do, you see the people like jumping in caskets, talking about no, don't go, da, 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 whatever. It's because they have regrets that they know that they didn't treat that person that they the way they should have, and so they're hurt and they're angry and they're bitter and they're resentment, and then they start being angry at God, like it's God's fault. Like, why did you take them? I've been through that too. I've been angry at God before for taking people before their time, but who says it's before their time? Like, we don't know exactly how many days God gives to any particular person. And again, it goes back to God gives people free will, so you can't make that decision. Sorry, my phone's been blowing up all day, so um, but we can't make that decision for people, and we can't live in that regret. Is what I want to get to, and just remember the good times with them and enjoy that. Hold on to the memories of the good instead of focusing on the bad, the all the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Focus on the good things that you have. Like we used to, my grandfather used to make this amazing brisket, and yeah, my grandma showed me how to make this brisket. I don't know how many times. Like we made it together. Probably she gave me the recipe. I still messed it up. She uh she actually came down to where I was living and she made it with me. I still don't remember how to make this freaking brisket. So I probably won't ever have brisket like that again because the two people who made it all the time are both gone now, and I don't know anybody who knows how to make it like them. And everybody says, "Well, you got the recipe," and yeah, she wrote it down for me somewhere. I don't remember where I put it, but that was some good brisket. So I think about those things. I've just been laughing. I've been thinking about all the fun times we had together. Um, the times that she yelled at me over stuff, like when I was a kid, I was like 12. My grandfather was on Prices Right, probably when I was like 7. And he won. And one of the items that he won was this radio. And and it was like a really nice radio, I guess. But um when I was 12, I was trying to put a CD in the stereo and it got stuck and I couldn't get it out. So I just left it there and I didn't say anything. And my grandmother went to go try to use it and she she couldn't get it to work and she was like, "Who broke this thing?" And finally I told her it was me and then she started crying and it was like the worst thing ever for me because my grandma never whooped me ever in my life, but her crying was like the worst thing she could ever do. Like I felt so low, guys. I felt so low. Like she was like, you could have told me the truth. Don't lie to me. I hate when people lie to me. You can do anything horrible in the world, but just always tell me the truth. That's what she always said to everybody. You can murder somebody, but just tell her the truth. You can lie to the cops, but don't lie to her. Like so I felt so bad about that. But to this day, well, not this day, but the last time I saw we I had a sip and paint for my birthday last year in December, and she was there, and we were painting, and I get the question came out that how or
how do you know me or something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, or what is the memory that you have of the birthday girl? And she said, she lied to me. Like this happened 20 something years ago and she still was talking about she lied to me. I'm like, Grandma, I apologize like so many times over. I can't apologize no more. She was like, because you should never lie to me. I had never lied to her again after that, I promise. But focus on the good memories. Focus on the things that make you laugh, that you remember about them. I remember dancing around with her. And I just, you know, having coffee with her, we would have coffee together. Um, and so many good things uh, that she instilled in my life. Um, we actually did a series on my Facebook called Pearls of Wisdom with Grandma Shirley, and I might actually upload those videos on here because I never put them on my YouTube. But we sat down and talked about the things that she felt that people should know, and it was amazing, amazing memories to have with her. So hold on to those things. Hold on to those memories. If you want to have peace, you have to find the good in this. Even in the hurt, even in the pain, you have to find some kind of glimmer of hope. Like, yeah, they're not here and it hurts, but they lived a good life and they poured out their love on you. And now they're in a better place and they're not in pain anymore. Those are the things that I hold to. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I really don't have like a whole bunch of stuff to say. I'm just, this is my process of dealing with the grief because all going to go through grief in our own way. And whatever way that is, you have to go through it. You can't try to bottle it up. You can't self medicate your way out of it because all you're doing is suppressing it and eventually it's going to come back out. You have to learn to deal with it, whether you have to go to counseling and talk with somebody about it there, whether you just need to pray and scream at God, like, help me to get through this. You have to go through the pain so you can get to the other side of acceptance and peace and wholeness and knowing that, I mean, if you live your life right, if you live your life for Jesus, you'll see them again on the other side. And that's my hope. That is what brings me comfort. I know I'll see her again and we'll dance together again. We'll laugh together again. She'll sing me happy birthday. Oh, that's the other thing. So if Shirley Stanford ever sung you happy birthday, you know the special way that she sings the song. And so, ironically, yesterday was my daughter's first birthday. And I was thinking, I said, I want to do something that I can carry on for her for the rest of her life as a tradition. And I said, I'm going to sing the birthday song the way that my grandmother sings it. And I can carry that on for her. Not knowing that my daughter, because my grandmother would call, I'm getting emotional, but it's okay. My grandmother would call all of us for our birthdays and sing us the birthday song. I didn't know that yesterday she was not going to be able to call my daughter and sing her that song. But I carried it on for her so that she would have that song and she'll be able to. She ain't gonna sing the song the way everybody else sings it, but she's gonna sing it the way that her Gigi sung it for all of us. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot more days of tears, happy tears, sad tears, but ultimately peace, knowing that she is in a better place now. And because of the love that she put in us, we will carry her forever as we learn to love and give love just the way that she did to everybody else. So thank you guys for listening today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.